Today I'm going to give you a comparison of two non-dairy milks that are great for travel, such as in my van here. Milk with an asterisk by Flora Foods and Nimbus Oat Milk. So stick around and I'm going to give you a side-by-side and see which one might work for you. Hello internets! Welcome back to another video. My name is Coralie, this is my channel Jump With No Fear, and this is my van. Please do excuse this fan that's on beside me. There is going to be slight fan noise while I'm doing this because it's ridiculously hot in here. I tried it without the fan and I just had sweat dripping down my face, so don't mind the fan noise. Today I'm going to give you a comparison of these two non-dairy milks. I have been using this milk by Flora Foods, it's a nut milk paste, for quite a while now, and I really like it, and I do have some in the van here with me when we travel. I've quite enjoyed it. However, I discovered this stuff by Nimbus. That's the brand name there. And this is one of their sample sachets or travel sachets. And I reached out to the lady and asked if she could send me a couple of sachets so that I can try it and give you all a comparison between this one and this one. It's not paid or anything. I just really wanted to let you all know how this one and this one compare. I was also really interested in trying it myself, so that was a bonus for me. But yeah, she was kind enough to send these, and now I'm going to give you a comparison of them. Both of these milks are non-dairy, and for me specifically, they're great for travel in the van because it means I don't have to have cartons and cartons and cartons of UHT plant-based milk. So if you use non-dairy milk or you're traveling, these may be useful for you. I'm going to give a bit of a side-by-side. I'm not going to say that one is better than the other because they're different products and they will suit different people in different situations. I spend a lot of my time and my energy actually trying to be more environmentally friendly. I do my best to actually use as little packaging as possible. And as my recycling bin filled up with so many of the UHT milk cartons for plant milk, I didn't really like that. It made me feel terrible. Something that also comes into consideration for me is how much space they take up. And if you are carrying full litre cartons of milk, that takes up an awful lot of room. And if you are camping away from civilization, you have to carry a few spares. They're handy because they last a long time, but they do take up a fair bit of room. So I started using the Flora Foods milk paste. It's a nut-based paste that you mix with water, and this one is an oat milk based milk and it comes in powdered form. This one I've used for quite a while. This one is new to me, but I tried it in as many ways as I could to see how it compared. So I'm going to tell you how each one compares for their various attributes and the advantages and the disadvantages of each one. Let's start with how convenient they are to mix. Now, they are both very convenient, I will give you that. With the oat milk, this comes in powder form, so it's a lot easier to mix. You actually do just shake it. However, this one, you have to use a blender. You can't just shake it. I have tried shaking and it doesn't work. The oils from the nuts really need to be emulsified quite well, using a blender to mix it up nicely. For both of them, the instructions is to store them in a cool, dry place. So that's nice and easy. Just in your pantry or down low somewhere in your van. As for the taste of them, with the powdered oat milk, I tasted it side by side with a carton of oat milk. I couldn't tell the difference. It was really creamy, and it was a great tasting alternative to using what comes in the carton. If you mix this up as per the instructions, it is much more watery than what you'd buy in a carton. I'm not sure if that's due to a lot of thickeners and other stuff that's added to those in the carton, but this is a lot more watery. If you're having this with drinks, it's probably less of a problem. If you're having it with cereal or using it for cooking, maybe that might have some sort of bearing. Do they split in hot drinks? The Nimbus Oat Milk? No, didn't split. The Flora Foods milk, they say it can, but if you heat your milk first before you put it in your hot drink, then it's less likely to split. Do they froth? The Nimbus Oat Milk, sadly, it does not. Not even a little bit. which was a bit disappointing. However, usually I'm just having it in a hot chocolate or an iced chocolate, and froth isn't really a big deal for me. I don't drink coffee, and I'm not a coffee snob because I don't actually like the taste anyway. So people who drink fancy coffee, it might be something you want to keep in mind. The Flora Foods milk, it does froth, sort of. It gets a nice lot of big bubbles on top, which probably wouldn't be any good for latte art if that's what you're using it for. Does the mix separate when it's sitting? Yes, they both do. Most plant-based milks seem to settle a little bit in the bottom of the container. Often people don't notice when it's in like a solid carton. It's much more noticeable if you've got it in a clear container, but almost all plant-based milks that I've tried do actually start to separate a little bit in the bottom of the container. You just give it a shake before you use it and it's fine. Dairy-free. They are both dairy-free. This is why I'm using them, because I don't have dairy milk. Are they gluten-free? The Nimbus powdered oat milk is not gluten-free because from what I understand, all oats in Australia are processed with things that aren't gluten-free and therefore it cannot be guaranteed to be gluten-free. The nut-based Flora Foods milk is. The amount of calcium in each one. The oat milk says it's got 30% of the recommended daily intake. The nut-based milk doesn't actually mention anything about calcium in the ingredients, so I'm assuming there is none added. Are they organic? The Nimbus Oat Milk doesn't mention anything about being organic, so I'm assuming not. Flora Foods milk, some of the ingredients are organic, others are listed as insecticide free, so partly organic, not completely. What thickener and or emulsifier is used in these? The oat milk, it uses xanthan gum, and the nut-based milk uses sunflower lecithin. A comparison for each of these in regard to ease of use as they come in their packaging. The Nimbus Oat Milk is very easy to use. You just use scoops of it. The packaging of these small sachets, one thing I think they could do is actually have like a little tear tab here somewhere, because you do need to use scissors to get this little single serve sachet open. Single serve sachet. Love a bit of alliteration. The larger packet of the Nimbus Oat Milk does come in a little Ziploc bag, so that's very easy to use and open, obviously. And very easy to seal up again afterwards as well. The Flora Foods milk is very easy to open. It's simply in a jar. You just open the lid. As for environmental impact, they're sort of the same but different. This is actually plastic. I think it comes partly, I should have written that down, but I didn't. I think it's made partly from recycled stuff. So it is using stuff from recycling, but it also is made from a monoplastic, which means that it can actually be reused. They melt it down into pellets or something. You can go to their website and have a look. They've got all their information there. And you can send these to Recycle Smart. Excuse me while I look at my notes. Kirby, which is CURBY, or if you don't have either of those services near you in Australia, then you can actually send this packaging back to Nimbus themselves, and they give you instructions on how to do that, and then they will give you a store credit to the value of the stamp that you used to send it with. So I think that's pretty cool. This comes in a glass jar and it's got the metal lid. The only thing on here that I think is not recyclable is this tiny little tab that goes down into the label, and that shows you that it hasn't been opened before. So that's probably about the only thing on there that is not recyclable. Being glass and tin, you can put that in the recycling bin. Okay, the big one, price per litre. They don't really compare, sadly. So when you're comparing these litre for litre, the Nimbus Oat Milk is much more expensive when you're buying it in the minimum amount that you can purchase. This is for buying just one jar or one pack. So a single litre of the Nimbus Oat Milk, it comes down to $4.40 per litre if you buy the one pack. Flora Foods milk nut paste milks come to $2.66 for a single jar. However, with each of these, they do have a subscription plan. The Nimbus Oat Milk, when you subscribe, comes down to $3.96 per litre, but they have kind of like a loyalty thing. So by the third time you purchase it, by the third time it's sent out to you, it comes down to $3.17 per litre under the subscription plan, like by the third one and continuing on from that. With the Flora Foods milk, they don't have an ongoing subscription discount, but it comes down to $2.53 per litre per single jar if you have the subscription, and it remains at that. You can actually also buy both of these in bulk on subscription. So for a quick litre by litre comparison, the Nimbus Oat Milk at its most expensive is $4.40 per litre, and at its cheapest is $2.90 per litre. So that's a pretty good discount if you do that way. And for the Flora Foods nut-based milk, the most expensive way is $2.66 per litre, and the cheapest way is $2.29 per litre. As for tips and tricks with using these, there really is no tip or trick with the oat milk. You simply put it in a container of water and you shake it up. Any jar, any container with a lid, whatever you like. They also sell a special little jar that can be used with it. You just shake it up for until it's dissolved. Maybe a minute, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. With this one, yes, it is a little more difficult because you have to use a blender. I have my portable blender here, which is great, and then you blend it for a minute. So it is very easy. However, you end up having to wash the blender after you do this, whereas with this one you can mix it up in the container that you're actually going to serve it in. One tip for the Flora Foods nut paste milk is when you put it in your blender, make sure you have the water in first. If it goes in the bottom of your blender on the blades without water in it, it tends to stick even after you mix it, and then it is much more difficult to clean off the blades, and then you're losing some of this and it's not being mixed in. So simply put the water in first before you blend it, then weigh this in. If you weigh it in instead of using a spoon, then you don't have any left over on the spoon and you don't waste any. That makes it a bit easier for you to know how to mix that without any wastage. I have been known to lick my finger or lick the spoon after I've mixed it because it's actually really nice on its own. So final summary, you need to weigh up what is important to you, which matters to you, and you know, the form factor and how they taste and how you're going to use the milk. For me personally though, I am really tempted to go with the Nimbus milk from now on. I'm actually going to buy some of this for myself because I really enjoyed the flavour and it was so easy to mix up. I really do love the taste of these. A little bit watery, yes, but I really do enjoy the taste. So it probably really depends what I feel like at the time. They're both really convenient for use and for storage, either in my van or outside of my van in my house. So I'm probably going to keep a little bit of both around. I will, going forward, I think use this for my van because it's very easy to store in the van. It comes in the powder form. This one takes up even less room than this. And the other advantage with this one is that I can get it recycled anywhere. I don't need to be near a recycling bin. I can actually post it from wherever I am in Australia and the packaging will get recycled. So thank you for joining me for another video. I hope that was interesting for you. I hope it's given you a good comparison of how each of these goes. Thank you for watching. Please do hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm getting really close to 1,000 subscribers now, so that's a little bit exciting for me personally. And thank you also to my lovely patrons. I really appreciate you all. Don't forget there's a link for that in the description so you can explore that if you like, and that helps me out a lot as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. This is the oat milk, and this is the Flora Foods milk, and here they are side by side.